It was the day I lost everything I thought I had: my job, my reputation, my confidence, and my sense of purpose. I was standing at the edge of despair, asking myself a single question. Could I pick up the pieces, or was this the end of my story? Perhaps you've been there too. That place where every door seems closed, every effort seems wasted, and the future feels like a shadow you can't escape. That was my life, until one moment made me realize something extraordinary. Even in the darkest hour, there is a spark of hope. This is not just my story. It's a story for anyone who's ever felt broken, lost, or ready to give up. It's a story about courage, resilience, and discovering a strength you didn't know you had. And it all began on a day I thought was the end. Before that day, life had been full of dreams, ambitions, and constant struggle. I had goals I believed I could achieve, but life has a way of testing our resolve. A missed opportunity here, a mistake there. The pressure began to mount. Every morning I woke up trying to convince myself that today would be different, that today I would finally succeed. But day after day I felt invisible, overlooked, and exhausted. The dreams that once burned brightly began to fade into shadows of doubt. Have you ever felt that way? That no matter what you do, the universe seems to conspire against you? That was my reality. I was trying so hard, yet everything seemed to slip through my fingers. And in those moments of quiet desperation, I began asking myself questions I wasn't ready to answer. Questions like, am I enough? Am I capable? Or is this struggle simply my fate? Then came the day that changed everything, or perhaps the day I thought it had ended. It wasn't one single event. It was a cascade, a job loss, a betrayal from someone I trusted, a personal failure that left me questioning everything. I remember sitting alone, staring at the walls of my empty apartment, feeling the weight of failure pressing down on me. The phone didn't ring. Emails went unanswered. The world I had built for myself seemed to collapse in slow motion. And in that moment, I considered giving up, truly giving up, walking away from everything I had worked for, letting fear and despair claim victory. But then, a quiet voice inside whispered, "This isn't over. It's just a chapter. The story continues if you choose to continue." Rock bottom is a strange place. Time feels slower. Every thought is magnified. Every fear, every doubt, every regret, all seem larger than life. And yet it is in this space, this silence and emptiness, that transformation begins. I realized something vital. Despair isn't permanent. Giving up is. And I wasn't ready to surrender my life to fear. In the weeks that followed, I spent hours reflecting on my life, walking through the streets at night, staring at the stars, asking myself, who am I if I'm not my job, my relationships, or my accomplishments? What is left if everything I've worked for disappears? It was a painful journey inward. I had to confront uncomfortable truths about myself, my fear, my insecurities, my procrastination, all the ways I had held myself back. And slowly, piece by piece, clarity began to emerge. I realized that the only person who could save me was me, and that saving myself would not be easy. It would require courage, persistence, and above all, action. And so I made a choice. I would rise, not tomorrow, not when the perfect conditions arrive, but now, in spite of fear, in spite of doubt, in spite of despair. The first steps were small. I reached out to someone I trusted for advice. I started a journal, recording my thoughts, my failures, my goals. I took risks that I had avoided for years. And though the world didn't change overnight, I began to feel a shift within myself. I realized that growth is rarely dramatic. It is small, daily, consistent. The courage to try again, the discipline to keep moving forward, the willingness to face failure. These are the sparks that ignite transformation. Along the way, I helped others in small ways, even when I felt weak. I offered a word of encouragement, a hand to hold, a listening ear. And strangely, each act of giving became fuel for my own growth. I was building strength, resilience, and confidence in ways I hadn't imagined. Every setback was a lesson. Every failure was a teacher. Every challenge was a stepping stone toward something greater. And slowly I started to see results. Small at first, but undeniable. Months went by. I faced fear repeatedly. I took risks that terrified me. I pushed through moments of doubt, fatigue, and frustration. But with each step, I grew stronger, more resilient, more confident. I learned that true transformation doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in discomfort, in struggle, in the moments when you are scared to move forward but do it anyway. I faced challenges I thought were impossible. I stumbled, fell, and failed many times, but I refused to quit. And in doing so, I discovered a power I never knew existed, a power that lives inside all of us, waiting to be awakened when we refuse to surrender to fear. And through this journey, I began to achieve milestones I had once thought impossible, not because the world changed, but because I changed. Then came the breakthrough, the culmination of months of struggle, discipline, and unwavering persistence. The moment when I finally realized I was no longer defined by fear, I was defined by courage, by strength, by action. The world hadn't magically changed, but I had. I had transformed despair into purpose, failure into wisdom, and fear into unstoppable strength. And that, more than any success or accolade, was my greatest victory. This is the lesson I want you to take with you today. No matter how broken, lost, or defeated you feel, your story is not over. You have the power to rise. You have the strength to face your fears. And your breakthrough is waiting if you dare to take the first step. Now I want to hear from you. What is your biggest challenge today? What fear are you ready to face? Share your story in the comments. Your experience could inspire someone else to rise above their own struggles. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe for more motivational, life-changing stories. Remember, courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward in spite of it. Your breakthrough is waiting. Take that first step today.